Hello there, my name is Nick, and today I want to share my story. It's not about inventions or clay figures, though I do love those, but about discovering who I am. This is the journey of realizing I'm gay, and learning to accept and celebrate that. It took time, confusion and courage, but also brought relief and joy. I share this because stories help us understand ourselves and each other. My journey had ups and downs, moments of feeling lost and gradual self-discovery. I hope my story helps anyone who feels different or is searching for themselves. Self-discovery is like animating a film, one frame at a time, each detail matters. For me, understanding my sexuality was a slow puzzle, not a single moment. It was a collection of small feelings and experiences that finally made sense. So, let's go back in time together. We'll explore confusion, happy discoveries, and the people who helped me. This isn't just about being gay, it's about being human and searching for happiness. It's about building a life that feels right and true. Welcome to my own grand day out. I'm glad you're here. As a boy, I always felt like I was wearing the wrong trousers. Like I was dressed for a part I didn't audition for, and everyone else had read the script except me. The feeling was more than just about clothes. It was as if I was out of step with the world around me, always a little offbeat, a little out of place. Other kids seemed to fit in so easily, slipping into friendships and games as if it were second nature. I watched them from the sidelines, wondering what secret they knew that I didn't. Their laughter felt like a language I couldn't quite speak. I didn't understand why, but I knew I was different. It was a quiet realization, one that grew louder with every birthday, every school year, every moment I spent alone with my thoughts. While other boys talked about pretty actresses and swapped stories about their crushes, I found myself drawn to the heroes on the posters, their strength, their courage, the way they seemed to know exactly who they were. I admired them, maybe even wanted to be them, but I never quite understood why my interests didn't match those of my friends. I learned to smile and laugh at the right moments, to nod along and pretend I understood. But inside I knew my feelings were different, and that secret difference made me feel even more alone. My friendships reflected this too. I connected more with girls, enjoying their games and stories, feeling at ease in their company. Their world felt softer, more welcoming, and I could let my guard down, even if just a little. With boys, I felt like I was acting in a play, trying to be someone I wasn't. Every interaction was a performance, every joke a line I had to remember, every gesture a part of a role I didn't want. This pretending was exhausting, but it became my normal. I would come home from school feeling drained, as if I'd spent the whole day holding my breath, waiting for a moment when I could finally exhale and just be myself. Still, being different wasn't always sad. It made me observant and creative. I noticed things others missed, the way sunlight danced on the classroom floor, the stories hidden in the clouds, the quiet beauty in small moments. I spent hours drawing, inventing stories, and building imaginary worlds where I could be myself. In those worlds, I was the hero, the explorer, the creator, free from the rules and expectations that weighed me down in real life. In those worlds, everything made sense. I could shape the story, decide who I wanted to be, and let my imagination run wild without fear of judgment. Creativity became my comfort and escape. It was a place where I could pour out all the feelings I couldn't share, a way to make sense of the confusion and loneliness I felt. It was a safe place where I didn't have to pretend, where I could let my guard down and just exist as I was, without apology or explanation. That creativity grew into my passion. It became the thread that connected my childhood to my future, a quiet strength I carried with me even when I felt most alone. The quiet hum of difference shaped my childhood, coloring every memory, every friendship, every dream. It was always there, a gentle reminder that I saw the world a little differently. It made me who I am. Looking back, I see that my difference was never a flaw. It was a gift, even if it took me years to understand. Even then, I was searching for a place where I truly belonged, a space where I could be seen and accepted for who I was, not who I was pretending to be. And that search would shape everything that came next, guiding me toward the person I was always meant to become. As I entered my teenage years, the world around me seemed to shift. Things that once felt simple became layered with new emotions and questions. Suddenly, everything felt both clearer and more complicated at the same time. I started noticing things about myself that I hadn't paid attention to before, small moments, glances and feelings that lingered long after they should have faded. My feelings for other boys weren't just quirks or passing thoughts. They were real, persistent, and impossible to ignore. I found myself drawn to certain people in ways I couldn't explain, and it made me question everything I thought I knew about myself. At school, I started hearing the word gay tossed around, usually as a joke or an insult. It was always said with a laugh or a sneer, never with kindness. Each time I heard it, I felt a strange mix of fear and curiosity. My heart would race and I'd wonder, were they talking about someone like me? Was I the punchline even if no one knew my secret? One night everything changed. I watched a film about two men who fell in love. It wasn't a comedy or a joke, it was a real honest love story full of hope and heartbreak. For the first time I saw my own feelings reflected on screen. I saw people like me, loving and being loved, and it made my heart ache in a way I'd never felt before. It was like someone had turned on a light inside me. That moment made my own feelings feel valid, like I wasn't just imagining things or making it up. I realized I wasn't alone in what I felt. Not long after, I stumbled upon a book of stories from gay people, hidden away in the back corner of the library. It felt like finding a secret treasure meant just for me. As I read their honest words, I realized I wasn't the only one feeling this way. Their stories were full of struggle, hope, and courage. I saw pieces of myself in every page. Their stories became a map, guiding me through my own confusion and helping me piece together my truth. Each chapter was like a clue, showing me that my feelings were part of something bigger. I started to understand that my attraction to boys wasn't something to be ashamed of. It was my sexuality, a natural and beautiful part of who I was. This realization was both terrifying and exhilarating. I was scared of what it might mean for my future, but also excited to finally have words for what I felt. I knew that not everyone would understand and that some people might judge me, but for the first time, I felt like I was starting to truly know myself, and that gave me a quiet confidence. The wrong trousers, the ones that never seemed to fit, were starting to feel a little more comfortable, as if I was finally growing into them. Every clue, every story, every moment of honesty brought me closer to accepting who I was. It was like putting together a puzzle, and each piece made the picture clearer. I realized I wasn't just different, I was uniquely myself. And for the first time I started to believe that was more than okay, it was something to be proud of. My secret world was slowly becoming real, and I was ready to step into the light one small step at a time. Realizing I was gay was one thing, telling others was another. The fear was overwhelming, like facing a monster. I worried about losing my family's love or my friends' acceptance. I played out conversations in my head, most ending badly, so I stayed silent, pretending to be someone I wasn't. The world outside seemed just as scary. News stories made me feel vulnerable, hiding felt safer, but it was exhausting. I was trapped between honesty and fear. The weight of my secret was heavy, but I couldn't let it go. I longed to be free, but the what-ifs kept me locked away. The fear of coming out was a powerful curse I didn't know how to break. The day I decided to come out felt like a matter of life and death for the old me. I remember sitting alone, my heart pounding, wondering if I was about to lose everything I'd ever known. The fear was overwhelming, but so was the need to finally be honest with myself and the people I loved. The secret was too heavy, I had to be brave. Every day I kept it inside, it felt like I was carrying a weight that only grew heavier. I knew I couldn't keep pretending forever. I told my older sister first, stumbling over my words. My voice shook and I could barely look her in the eye. I was terrified she'd see me differently, or worse, that I'd lose her. "I think I'm gay," I finally said. The words hung in the air, heavier than I expected, but also strangely freeing. She smiled, held my hand, and told me she loved me. Nothing would change that. In that moment, I felt a wave of relief and gratitude. Her acceptance was everything I needed. Her acceptance was a huge relief, giving me courage to keep going. It was like a door opening, letting in light after years of darkness. Next, I told my parents. I was terrified. My hands shook as I sat them down, unsure of how they'd react or what they'd say. They were quiet, had questions, and worried about my future. I could see the concern in their eyes, and I knew they were trying to process everything at once. It wasn't instant acceptance, but it wasn't rejection either. There was a lot of uncertainty, and it took time for them to understand. Over time, they understood. I was still their son, just more honest. We had long talks, some tears, and slowly they began to see that I hadn't changed, just the truth I was sharing. Their love was stronger than their fear. They realized that what mattered most was my happiness and authenticity. Telling friends was mixed, most were supportive, a few drifted away. Some friends surprised me with their kindness, while others grew distant, unsure of what to say. Losing friends hurt, but I learned true friends love you for who you are. The ones who stayed became even more important to me, and I cherished their support. Each conversation made me lighter, more myself. With every person I told, I felt a little more free, a little more at peace. The world didn't end, in fact it got brighter. I started to see hope where there had only been fear before. Coming out was hard, but it was the start of real freedom. I could finally breathe, knowing I was living honestly. I realized I didn't have to hide anymore. I could just be me, without fear or shame. The people who mattered stayed. Their love and support became the foundation for my new life. I was finally living my truth. And that changed everything. I learned that being honest with myself and others was the bravest thing I could do, and it made all the difference. After coming out, I needed a new support system. My family and closest friends became my foundation, but I also sought out others who understood my journey. Joining LGBTQ+ groups was scary at first, but I quickly found community. We shared stories, advice, and support. I no longer felt alone. This new community became vital. Celebrating together, helping each other through tough times, reaching out made my life stronger and happier. I learned we're not meant to face challenges alone. My support system became my greatest invention. Living as my true self was a grand new adventure. The world felt brighter and I could finally breathe. No more pretending, just being Nick. Honesty brought new depth to my relationships. I could share my life openly without editing or hiding. Authenticity made my connections stronger. Confidence grew. I stopped caring about judgment. The people who mattered loved me for me. I became more outgoing, creative, and comfortable in my own skin. There were still challenges, but I had the strength to face them. The joy of authenticity far outweighed the difficulties. Embracing my true self was about happiness, not just sexuality. It was the grandest adventure I could have imagined. Looking back, I see how vital it was to fix up my life. Living a lie is exhausting. Eventually things break down. True happiness comes from being honest with yourself. Accepting I was gay unlocked my happiness and peace. Authenticity is the foundation of a joyful life. When you're true to yourself, you inspire others to do the same. Your courage can be a beacon for others. You only get one life, don't waste it pretending. Your quirks and feelings make you special. Be brave, be honest, be you. It's the most rewarding work you'll ever do. Being true to yourself is essential for a life well lived. If you're on a similar journey, here's my message of hope. You are not alone. There's a whole community ready to welcome you. Be patient and kind to yourself. Self-discovery takes time. Trust your instincts. Your journey is your own. Your feelings are valid and real. Who you love is beautiful and natural. Surround yourself with people who lift you up. Build your own support system piece by piece. The fear won't last forever. One day you'll look back and be proud of your courage. You deserve happiness and love for exactly who you are. Keep going. Your grand adventure is just beginning.